Clix and Vino are no longer good enough to win this FNCS. Welcome back to another episode of Fortnite Hot Takes, where I give you guys a platform to voice your opinions on Fortnite competitive. If you want to be featured in a future episode of Fortnite Hot Takes, simply follow me on Twitter, just at KDog, and then respond to the tweets when I ask for hot takes, or you can comment your hot takes in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Hitting 100,000 subscribers would be like winning FNCS to me. Use code KDog in the Fortnite item shop to support me even more. We have some absolutely insane takes to get into, so let's just get it started. Clix won't win FNCS. He spent the break during tournaments doing IRL content and beefing with Jinxie instead of grinding, and it showed during heats. All right, so we're already starting off strong here, and if you guys don't know exactly what he's talking about, he basically means like the little like 3-week break where there was no like cash cups or FNCS or anything like that. Clix spent most of that time going to Miami to do content with like Ron and Lacey, and then even once he came back, he was doing more of like promotional stuff for his boxing fight with Jinxie. And he's saying that since he didn't spend most of the like break time like grinding scrims or like playing tokens or anything like that, this team doesn't look as good as they did, and it really showed with like their heats performance. Since they weren't able to make grand finals until round 3 of upper bracket, they weren't able to get a single win or anything like that in all of heats. And I mean, I can partially agree with this. I feel like if this team was grinding a lot more during the break, they could have possibly done better, but this team still is very good, and I don't think like the only reason why they weren't able to win a game was because like they weren't grinding. The meta changed a lot with crash pads. Like this team's whole game plan was to just go for high ground and just hold high ground and just being a height team. But with the newer addition of crash pads, and especially in a format where winning a game takes you to grand finals, everybody was just psychoing height with the crash pads. So for this first take, I think I'll have to give it like a 50% that I agree with it. For each of the hot takes, I want you guys to comment down below your opinions on it as well, and I want us to have a little discussion about each of these. Mongraal and Savage will play very consistent and somehow make a sneaky top 5, since we already saw how much Mongraal has improved, and Savage will have mastermind the rotates and strats before grand finals. Now to me personally, I think a top 5 is a little bit pushing it here. I still do feel like they are very good, but they might be getting overhyped just a little bit. You also have to remember this team didn't really have any good performances like until FNCS week started. So I mean, you could say that they're heating up at the right time. I feel like I just need to see more from them to be able to put them that high on a list. Like a top 5 is a little bit crazy to me. You have to remember how many good teams there are on the region this season. Like this is one of the most stacked FNCSs ever. So while I think they could definitely be a top 10 team, I just need to see a little bit more from them as of right now. I fully do believe in them though, and I do want them to be able to make the LAN event. So I think as long as they're able to make the LAN event, I don't really think people will care like what place they exactly get. On the topic of Mongraal and Mr. Savage, this one was very interesting to me. It's Death and Edgy con Savage and Mongraal, since they are triple conned at the other spot and grief their quad to LAN. Now this one I just picked because I feel like this is a very realistic option. If you look at the drop map for grand finals right now, Death and Edgy, the team that was originally conning Mongraal and Mr. Savage, are triple contested at literally like a little tiny split. So I feel like in a way it's almost smarter for them to con Mongraal and Mr. Savage than con whatever they're at right now, which is really unfortunate for Mongraal and Mr. Savage. But I just feel like this is a very real possibility, especially if they are doing bad like the first couple games. A little hot take from me is I don't think Mongraal and Mr. Savage are going to spend this whole grand finals uncontested. There is no way a team that is like struggling doesn't just surprise con them at least one game. The 4-1 off spawn against Edgy and Death definitely helped their reputation off spawn, but I still feel like there is going to be some people that just don't respect them enough, and they're still going to con them. Batman, Bugha, and Rapid will win it all. They've been dominating dual cash cups, won in uppers to auto qual to grands, and now they're deservedly left on con in grands. Now I love that you included that last part, that they deserve to be uncontested, because to me they really do. The teams that were contesting them respectfully were just not on their level this season. This team has been so dominant in the dual cash cups, winning 2 out of 4 of them that they qualified for, and they have just been so consistent in literally like every single tournament and scrims. Just they've been grinding so much this season. This is like going to be their peak like best season that they ever have. I feel like there is a very real chance that this team can win grand finals, and it still is just going to be so crazy to me that out of all of these big name teams we have like Peterbot, Clix, Vino, Mongraal, Mr. Savage, if Batman, Bugha, and Rapid are able to pull off a grand finals win, it would do so much for their brand. So I mean, yeah, I do have to agree with this take. I think this is a real possibility that they are able to win it all. Cold and Acorn are going to sneak up the leaderboard in FNCS finals and win again. Their chemistry is highly underrated. Now, if you told me this take like before FNCS heats happened, I would say that you're a little bit delusional and this isn't their season. But after FNCS heats and the performances that they had in lower bracket, as well as dominating upper bracket and being able to win a game game to qualify straight into grand finals. I do have to slightly agree with this one. I don't think that Cold and Acorn are going to win. They're not my personal picks to be able to win grands, but if someone like came up to me and they were like, hey, I think Acorn and Cold are going to win grands, I feel like that is still a valid take. They literally won FNCS like 2 seasons ago, I'm pretty sure, and they have been playing together for so long. They're another team that is fighting for that LAN qualification spot, so they do still have something to play for. And I feel like especially after so many people have just been doubting them all season and like underrating them honestly for how good they are, they could have something to prove to a lot of people and go out there and show the world why they are still one of the best duos in NA. So I think this take is completely valid as well. There should be a solo FNCS in every chapter. Now this is like the first like non like grand finals hot take we have, but I also have to say I agree with this take completely. I feel like at least one solo FNCS every chapter, because every chapter seems to be around 4 seasons long now. It seems to be like what Fortnite is doing. So if they have 3 seasons of like duos or trios or whatever the game mode is, and then 1 season of solos, I feel like that gives the chance for a lot of underrated players to be able to make a name for themselves, because there's probably some like insane kid out there that is like super good, but it's just really underrated and he can never find a duo that is on the same skill level as him. And solos is just also very entertaining to watch from a viewer perspective. You get to see who is like the best solo player in the world like every single chapter. I feel like that would be a very cool thing, and I think Epic should implement this maybe starting next chapter. I feel like that would be cool. Or if they're planning to add back OG Fortnite every single year, it would be really cool to have a solo FNCS during that season. Like, could you imagine if during the chapter 2 like throwback season that we're getting at the end of this year, if there is a solo FNCS in it? Like, that would be so fun to not only watch but also play as well. All right, this is a little bit of a longer one, but just let him cook. So we basically said that Vino and Clix will not top 5. I believe with crash pads and plants, their entire surge plan is gone. Their strength before was using 80% of forecast, but now with crash pads, that is basically useless. Even Vino said it on stream. He was VOD reviewing and said that forecast is basically useless now, and with cactus, their surge plan is also gone. So there was a lot to digest there, but he's basically saying that every team is now going for the cactus on their rotates instead of rotating like where Clix and Vino would normally go, like to set up on the mountain to get surge. So they have to change up their whole surge plan simply because of the cactuses. And so that is the reason why he believes Clix and Vino will not be able to get a top 5. I don't think the forecast tower is like completely useless. I still do feel like there is a very strong point to go for it, but surge is going to be so high in grand finals. The cactus plant might ruin grands, which is kind of sad to see. That is literally just like everybody's plan at this point. They just go, they base up on a cactus flower, and then they just trade surge with just whoever is next to them, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, is a very smart strategy for the pros, but for a viewing aspect and also for like a competitive aspect, it kind of does ruin a lot of the hype there. I think Clix and Vino will be able to adapt to this though, so I don't think it will completely like kill their momentum or anything. If a lot of other pros are able to adapt to it, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to as well. All right, this next one says this LAN will not be so competitive because there is no upper and lower bracket of the LAN. So some teams like the OCE and Middle East teams who aren't as good will be playing guaranteed. The brackets were better because it was truly the grand finals lobby just made it better. And I like the last chance major as a thing because it gave duos who were contested a chance to make it. And I just have to start off by saying I completely disagree with this. I absolutely hated the fact that teams that qualified for the LAN event had to then go to the LAN event and then play qualifiers to play at the LAN event. It just made no sense to me. Like last season, Clix literally like qualified for LAN and then didn't qualify like at the LAN qualifiers, so he wasn't able to play at the LAN event. I thought that whole thing was just dumb to me. I mean, maybe you guys disagree with me, but I feel like if you are a team that spends your whole season grinding, is able to make the LAN event, and then you go to the LAN event and you can't qual there, like you're just wasting your time at that point. The last chance major, I mean, maybe you could agree with that, but I feel like this one is more just like hating on the smaller regions. Like you have to remember, literally there are so many good players from smaller regions. Like the people on the smaller regions, they only take like the person who wins FNCS. So like from OCE, it's like Alex and Worthy, who literally came over to NA this season to be able to compete, and they're in grand finals, so they're clearly worthy. And then like Swizzy, I'm pretty sure was like a different pro from a different region who's now like dominating EU. And then Muzz is literally another OCE person. Like if you're going all the way back in the day, like Scented and Edgy used to play on West, and then they dominated East. So I don't think it's a thing that like these smaller regions can't compete. I don't feel like that's very like a fair assumption to make. Like you're kind of acting like OCE is getting like 10 different teams to the LAN event. I'm pretty sure they're only taking like 2 or 3 teams total. So those teams are still going to be very good, and they're going to be represented very well by like the top competitors in that region. So overall, I kind of just have to completely disagree with this take. All right, this final one says that Peterbot and Pollo will win back to back, and that his reasoning is that they have done extremely well in the duo cash cups and always come in like top 5 in almost every match they play. And like then he just gives like a little bit of their play placements and things like that. And honestly, I have to completely agree with this one. This team looks so good recently. They won the recent Duo Cash Cup, winning 4 out of the 6 games in it. They were able to win a game in FNCS East to automatically qualify to grand finals. It's looking like they might be contested in grand finals, so that could be interesting. This is also like one of the best off spawn fighting teams that Fortnite has ever seen, so I'm not really too worried about them being contested by like some like people I've never really heard about, honestly. So I mean, you know, any chance I can get to say that Peterbot will win FNCS, I'll take it. And we didn't really have that many hot takes about Peterbot this episode, so I mean, comment down below which one of these hot takes you agree with, which ones you disagree with. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. If you have any of your own hot takes, either send them to me on Twitter or just comment it in the comment section down below. Use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop to support me even more. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.